Hello, how are you? I am Professor Flávio de Leão Bastos Pereira, and this is the Reiteration, a specialized channel on international law, international criminal law, and international humanitarian law, and also international human rights law, with me and Professor Natalia França. I would like to talk about the concept of the crime of genocide, which became known from 1944 on with the publication of the book Axis Road in Occupied Europe by the jurist Raphael Lemkin, a Polish Jewish expert not only in law but also in linguistics. When Lemkin was a child, he read the book Quo Vadis by Henryk Sienkiewicz, which narrated the persecution of the Christians by the Roman Emperor Nero. Along the years, Lemkin questioned how was possible the existence of the crime of homicide when a man kills another one, but on the other hand, there was no a legal provision for a crime when a human group was destroyed, just like it happened in Namibia, for example, between 1904 and 1908, and also in the Ottoman Empire in between 1915 and 1923, when the Christian minority, the Armenians, were murdered by the Ottoman Empire government, the young Turkish government. Well, this was the first genocide committed by a state against its own citizens in 1914. In this sense, Raphael Lemkin, who fled to Europe from Europe due to the Nazi persecution of the Jewish people, and who had his family exterminated during the Holocaust, wrote his classic book, Axis Rule in Occupied Europe. In this book, Raphael Lemkin conceptualized the crime of genocide as the imposition of the national pattern of the perpetrator group over the national pattern of the oppressed targeted group. Even more, Lemkin defined the different paths for committing a crime of genocide, not only the physical extermination, but also by biological means, by the suppression of the fundamental and economical basis for the existence of a group, for the survival of a victimized group, among other possibilities. After 1945, the United Nations approved the first binding international convention for the prevention and repression of the crime of genocide on December 9th, 1948. As I told you, the first post-war international binding convention, even in human rights. And in this convention, the genocide was conceptualized as the destruction, intentional destruction, in whole or in part, of a human group for reasons related to the nationality, religion, ethnicity, or even the race of the victimized group. The concept was reiterated by the 1998 Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, which in its Article 6 established that any of the aforementioned conduct is genocide, such as, for example, killing members of the group, like the Nazis did with the Jews of Europe, causing serious bodily or mental harm to the members of the group. As we know, it also happened during the concentration and extermination camps, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent the birth within the group, forcibly transferring children from one group to another, and this crime was committed by the Brazilian military dictatorship with the indigenous children and other conducts. For some genocide scholars, these international norms restricted Raphael Lemkin's vision and were not effective in preventing new genocides, as in Cambodia, Rwanda, Bosnia, or even the acts committed against the indigenous peoples of the Americas, with many dynamics committed by the governments and some companies which suppress the basic and fundamental conditions for their existence, as in Brazil and other Latin American countries. I personally agree with this criticism and understand that a relational view of the crime of genocide and more connected with the Latin American contexts must be considered. Well, we shall return to talk about the crime of genocide in the next videos. If you liked this video, our comments and reflections from today, share it with our colleagues. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video when we'll talk again about the genocide question. Thank you very much.